So we had a busy weekend of racing, some exciting, some not so exciting. We'll get into the country club race, and we'll talk a little bit about our our first live stream of the year, and how I jinxed Max Verstappen. This is Zephyr Racing's Garage Talk. I'm DJ Flook.
I'm Eric Richardson.
So going back to our stream from Saturday night into Sunday morning, it was Sunday morning for you to start, but I'm like, Max cannot, he is way overdue for a DNF. And I said, you can't go that many races without a mechanical problem, a pit stop mistake, getting caught up in a wreck, making a mistake on the track. I mean, he is human. Doesn't seem like it, but he is human. And then like 5 minutes later, his brake catches on fire.
Yeah, what was it, like 43 or 44 races?
Yeah, it was like 43 races without it was the 2022 Australian Grand Prix. Well, that was his last DNF. And he didn't seem really upset about it either. That's the crazy part.
He knows he's gonna win the next like 19
I
in
mean,
a
he's
row.
only 4 points up on the championship. And yeah, it's
What
like,
was
oh,
it? His right rear brake stuck open
yep.
and
And
just
it heated and
up.
then went oof.
Then as he's pulling into the pit, you just see it explode.
The best part of it, the memes going around this week was they said we have found out why his brake caught on fire, and they zoomed in and there was a picture of an appendix on the brake. Flying and Carlos Sainz took his removed appendix and put it in, shoved it into the brake of his car, of Max's car.
You know, it's so funny. It's great to see somebody else win, just not be the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah, it's just we've
The
reached this pattern.
the race was still the exact same.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, we're gonna have a
Simmons was
close
just
race, and then no.
out in front, ran there the whole day, and there was no drama. He was comfortably up there. So losing Max in the race did not change anything.
I mean, the only thing that happened that was of any excitement after that, I mean, you had Lewis with a DNF, you had George Russell crashing, which he's done that the previous two times Carlos Sainz won a race. Uh,
Two things on that. One, I don't know if I necessarily agree with Alonso's receiving a penalty.
yeah,
I mean, you're a racer. You're going to try to throw your competitor off. You're going to make it hard to pass.
yeah, I agree. I went back and watched it again. I'm like,
Yeah, he maybe slowed earlier,
I
but
don't think there's anything
you slow down where
egregious.
you're going to turn differently and you can accelerate sooner.
I think it was Martin Brundle said something to the extent of, Alonso's looking to potentially go to Mercedes, and now they're going to be like, look what you did to our car. Like, does that hurt his chances?
Yeah, maybe Alonso braked early and caught Russell by surprise, but a good racer should still be able to stay in control of their car. It is unfortunate, and he got lucky the way that he bounced off the wall and ended up basically floor first with oncoming traffic on a blind turn. He's lucky somebody didn't plow through it.
Oh yeah, yeah. He was screaming for a red flag.
Yeah, he wanted those cars stop moving and get slowed as quickly as possible. So we're lucky that we didn't see an even bigger crash.
Yeah, yes, we are.
He walked away just fine, which is good.
I mean, the other point of drama from the event was, they let Lando buy Piastri at his home race, and Piastri misses the podium in his home race, so that didn't go over well with the Australian fans.
And then we touched on it. Logan Sargent did not get to even start the race
He did not.
because he had to give up his car to Alex Albon, who wrecked his in practice.
And Williams announced that they're going to be repairing his car for Japan and not sending over a new car. So, they're going to only have two cars again going into Japan. Like, one of
That
them
car
wrecks, they're going to
was
have the same thing
shredded.
again.
Albon's car was shredded after practice.
Yes, it was.
And then Haas ended up scoring what 3 points, and Williams got zero.
Yep. Haas got double points that weekend. Uh, good for them. RB got some points. Yuki got into the top 10. Allegedly, Helmut Marko has told Daniel Ricciardo, you've got like 2 races to step it up or you're going to get replaced by Miami.
Give
Ouch.
them some equipment to drive in, and you might see a difference.
Yeah. Hey, Yuki scored points.
It helps Max, DNS, Lewis, DNS.
I just feel like Lewis is checked out.
I think so.
His body language looks like a guy who just is like just kind of going through the motions now. Could you imagine like if he was in a serious run for the championship and that happened to him, he probably would have been pretty upset. And he just it just to me it looked like he just like whatever. He made the comment too about starting outside the top 10. He's like, it is what it is. I've accepted that it is what it's going to be, basically. I mean, this is going to be, if this trends downward like this, we're in the third race of the season, and he's already mentally checked out on Mercedes, or appears to be mentally checked out. That's could you imagine when we get to the fall races?
Well, and I wonder if some of that, if the Mercedes cars just are not fast this year. When you had
No,
Perez moving through the field, you had both Hamilton and Russell going, that car is fast, and Russell going, that car's a rocket ship.
yeah,
When the Red Bull just flew past them,
yeah, it's,
there was no challenge to even give.
and they've talked about Max, and if he leaves Red Bull over all this drama there, which funny, we actually had something to talk about with Red Bull other than a race win or their drama this weekend. Um, but it's like, oh, would Max go to Mercedes? And it's like, why would he?
I There's no way you'd want to go there.
I mean, I would almost, it's, I mean, Mercedes is what? Fourth best, fifth best?
Yeah, Ferrari's number two.
Ferrari's two. McLaren's not that far behind them.
And then it's a toss up there between Aston Martin and Mercedes.
Yep.
The other five teams have like 10 points total.
Hey, Alpine, they had a decent weekend.
About done.
Oh man, crazy stuff. So we got Japan in a week, a little over a week, which is interesting because they're going back to China for the first time in several years now. I think what 20 yeah, they haven't been there since 2019. I think they shut it
Yeah.
down for COVID and haven't been back since.
Yeah, first time back there in a while. Toto will not be at the Japan Grand Prix. He'll be calling stuff from home.
You want to talk about checked out? Actually, they said that was pre-planned before the season, that he wasn't going to be there for that one.
Yeah, I was reading he's going to be trying to step back a little bit, but was a planned thing. 1 to 2 races a year that he would not do.
Actually, I feel like Japan last year, he didn't go to that either.
Yeah, sounds familiar. Don't hold us to that, because we could be wrong.
He didn't go to Brazil a couple years ago because if I remember right, the one that Russell won, because I feel like he had to take a FaceTime call from Toto after he won the race. I think. I mean, I might be completely mixing that up, but I want to say that happened at Brazil. But yeah, I mean, he skips out on a couple races a year. Interesting for a team principal to like, you know what? I'm just not going to show up to work today. So the IndyCar series went to a glorified test session at a country club in Palm Springs called the Thermal Club. Ghost John got hit by Scott Dixon, caused a wreck on turn one, lap one. Pietro Fittipaldi got disqualified for not having a full tank of fuel.
I was traveling through it, but I hardly paid attention to it. It's
I lost
nonsense
interest
race.
I lost interest very quickly.
Like,
Honestly, like I spent most of the weekend watching the COTA races, and I know they're not the most popular race in the NASCAR series. But we'll get to that in a bit. But
I
I
like
really
how it
like
was
the track.
another challenge too, and the winner only got 500.
Yeah, what is that all about? Because I was like, oh, is it like the top five person odds up to million? No, it doesn't. Because it was like 500, 350, 250. So I'm like, where do they get this $1 million challenge thing from if he's only getting half a million? So I never figured that out. But I don't know.
Whatever.
It was it's kind of boring.
There were so many rules behind it for the qualifying, and then the draw. Group one was absolutely loaded with Group two, like all rookies.
Yeah.
It, I would call it a flop.
Yeah. I was just like, yeah. It's like that's the best you could do. I mean, I get it that like the Texas getting cut out of the schedule was kind of a late thing. Um, come to Phoenix. I'm sure you can make it work. Show the NASCAR drivers how to
Great.
drive that track.
Phoenix under the lights and Indy cars on the new configuration would
I think
be
it'd be a lot of fun.
amazing. I
I'd
would
be there
almost
in a
want to fly
heartbeat.
out there for it.
I've been quietly petitioning the president of Phoenix Raceway, get the deal done. Get the deal done. But I mean, it's good. Indy's like, at least, we've got it's back in Nashville, super speedway for the finale. Not by choice, but it's like, okay, oval race. You got the
It's better than
two,
what the course is going to be.
you got the Milwaukee weekend, you've got Iowa, you obviously have Indianapolis. So it's, they're doing better on the ovals. I'm not missing anything, am I? No, because Texas is gone.
Gateway.
Oh, Gateway. Oh, I gotta forget. Yeah. So I mean that, hey, it's there's more ovals being mixed in, which is good.
And
I
just Phoenix race here late March, early April.
just
Put it under lights.
promote
Still
the
not going
dumb
to be
thing. Like
too
just
hot.
promote it. Like the reason nobody attended is because nobody promoted it. Granted, the racing wasn't great the last time around, but
And then you're already out there for Long Beach.
yeah. Head up the road to Long Beach. It's not that far. I do the trip every summer.
There you go.
So
IndyCar. Let's be
IndyCar.
your
You're welcome. You can take that one. You don't even have to give me credit for it. Just get the Phoenix race back on the schedule. I'll take it. So COTA, I mentioned that a little bit ago. I like COTA. I like COTA a lot. I think it's a really unique track,
it
and
is and it's fun.
it's a lot of fun. And it's good. They moved the start zone back, so there's less of a less of that congestion going up the hill into turn one, which I think definitely helped because it wasn't nearly as chaotic. Pardon me, this time around. Even with the truck race.
I watched the truck race. That was a lot of fun.
The truck race was a lot of fun, and then Marco Andretti's, rear axle decided to just fall off while he's driving.
That was wild. You see
Uh,
caution, like, what's going on? Oh, there's Marco's car with no wheels.
and there's this
Then they
rear
show the
wheels are
like
gone,
head-on track shot of the replay. It's like he's driving.
and then just
Oh,
the
there
whole back
goes
end
the
just goes
rear.
up. I haven't
That
heard
car
anything
is
from
at, or
NASCAR.
truck, I should say, is now at R&D.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything. They made some initial comments on it, but they've had the. I want to say I saw something from Steve Letarte today say like I've never seen anything like that before.
No, I don't recall seeing that in any races other than just the car getting demolished in a wreck.
The Andretti curse is real. There's no other way to explain it.
No, it's a thing.
And then you had in the Xfinity race, you had a really good last lap battle with Austin Hill, SVG, and then Kyle Larson. And Austin Hill's leading going into the technical area and kind of the last, the last sector of the track, SVG just runs right into the back of him, trying to move him out of the way, and smashes up his front end, and ends up knocking them both out. And they fell fact, both of them fell pretty far back too.
Yeah, I didn't get to see the last few laps. I was watching the 9 to leave with about 10 laps to go, but that was a fun race. Lots of off-track penalties through the S's. And
That was
then
really the only
what,
area where they
turn 4 or something, it was a right-hander. They were going off-roading.
Yeah, there was some complaints. I noticed they had there was a partial repave of the track. Did you see there was some areas where it was very distinctively repaved, and then you're onto
Yeah, a
the old
lot of
pavement.
the turns were repaved. In the Cup
So
race, there were a lot of penalties.
yes, there were.
So
Yep.
they
So
need to figure that out.
so Kyle. Oh, I guess Austin Hill still finished second. Um,
I think it was they just bumped each other enough to that allowed Larson to get by, wasn't it?
yeah, SVG fell to 27th. Yeah,
Oh,
he smashed up his front end, and um, in the Cup race on Sunday, it was pretty clean. I don't think they had any cautions.
I think it was caution free.
Yeah, I mean it. See if we can get some stats here.
When I saw Kyle Busch was upset at the end of the race
Yeah,
and
what's new?
confirmed with Chris Bell.
And Christopher Bell's just kind of standing there like, okay.
I actually haven't seen like the two incidents that he was referencing.
Um, I saw it, but I don't really remember much of it. It wasn't really.
And if you give space and you're going to dive it in there and you don't take out the other driver, that's kind of racing.
Yeah.
Because you got what, two kind of three-ish hairpins
Yeah,
that
and
have multiple
Kyle
lanes to
Busch,
take.
has his reputation to begin with. Who, he's been pretty subdued, granted, the last couple of seasons. Yeah, he had Byron wins. Ty Gibbs finishes third. Alex Bowman had a really good day, finished fourth.
He's good at COTA.
Bubba Wallace finished 15th, which is notable because I think they said his best finish at COTA before Sunday was like 27th or something. So that's good improvement for Bubba. Off to Richmond.
Yeah, good improvement. Still can't say I'm a fan though.
I mean, he does have some of the best looking cars every week. I did see
Yeah,
DoorDash dropped NASCAR altogether.
DoorDash is going to be dropping everything here soon.
Yeah. Yeah, DoorDash ended their sponsorship with 2311, and they also got out of sponsoring NASCAR altogether as well.
Well,
So
part of it, I think it has to stem, not entirely, but some of the. I was actually reading about DoorDash the other day, how they're losing customers out in, I think, it was Washington, because they've made the pay better for the gig employees. And
oh
then you have
yeah.
$10 orders that are now costing you 40, and people are going, nope.
Yeah, they the model of taking advantage of the gig workers is seems like it's going to be not going to last too much longer.
And I did it for a while. I did some grocery shopping with Shipt, and we did pretty well. That's only gonna last for so long.
Yeah. I mean, early on, you remember when like Lyft and Uber first came out, and they're
Mhm.
showing like what some of the drivers were making, and there's like people are like quitting their full-time jobs and just driving for Uber full-time. And then, the financials come out and Uber's bleeding money, and they're, like, we got to make a profit, guys. And mm,
Yeah, I've paid my taxes and stuff, but there were weeks that I worked not that much and still made over $700 in a week.
wow. So it's like you got to be in the right market and the right
Very
delivery.
much so. Then you got
Yeah.
to get some luck along the way.
You just happen to catch that good order. And yeah, on Reddit, there's like a Uber, Uber, Lyft, Grubhub, all those companies, and people are DoorDash, and like the drivers are sharing their stories and experiences. And there was one where this driver had it was like an Uber ride, and the or the passenger who called for the ride wanted the Uber driver to drive like 800 miles from them. They're
No,
like, "Are you kidding me?"
crazy stuff.
So, uh, yeah, Wednesday Night Dash is in between seasons. We got a couple of new drivers already. We're recruiting. So frracingonline.com/WND. We're trying to round it out at 20. We don't know what our official number is, but it's going to be greater than 15 if we don't add anybody else. There's a couple of people who don't know if they're coming back or not, if they're going to race a full or part schedule. So we want to get to 20. Nice round number, 20 drivers. I think it's definitely doable this time. So
I'm
come race with
excited.
us.
I'm excited to get back out in the trucks.
I haven't done that in a while.
I've always enjoyed racing these cars.
The last three official oval races I've done in iRacing were trucks. And I did okay at Kansas. I did really well at the new Atlanta. We'll be at the old Atlanta. And then we did our fun race for the multi-class where we mixed the trucks with the Gen 4s.
Yeah, I think the trucks actually suit my drive style a little bit better than even what the next gens do.
I'm in my time trial running when I was going out and figuring laps, and I'm looking at track guides and comparing times and looking at officials, and I'm like, it's not bad. I've got some work to do at New Hampshire, and I got to shave probably about 5 or 6 seconds off at Sonoma if I want to be competitive. But
So
let's stay out of the mess. I should be okay this season.
Sonoma will probably be the shot of Malort when we film
Before or after?
both.
Oh man. And then so and then finally the Indy Racing World Series comes back
Yeah,
April
it's supposed to
2nd.
be kind of like a mid-season short break, but unfortunately I had to postpone a race.
Yeah, because of
We're only 3 races in, and to be honest, part of the perks of running your own league.
and availability of not having a race admin there. You can't really run a league without the race admin.
Yeah, and being on the road for 2 weeks makes it hard.
They say like let the inmates run the asylum. No. You imagine if NASCAR allowed like self-policing?
Oh, maybe they need to get back to that, make it more exciting. I won't get into it though. We've talked points. Get rid of the
somebody
stage breaks.
somebody got
Our points are
upset.
fine with the playoffs that I hate.
There are a couple. I mean, there was the Busch and the Christopher Bell. No, I mean it wasn't really. It was just a one-sided rant. And somebody got upset at Parker Kligerman. I think it was this
Oh,
weekend.
yes. And who was it? Custer was upset with Sam Mayer, Sam Smith.
Yeah,
What
what's
is it?
new?
I
seems
remember he
seems like
goes,
for
remember that for later.
seems like for a while. Oh, and Austin Hill was upset at SVG over his bumping him out of the way at the end, and I guess Austin Hill's spotter's like, dude, I would have done the same thing you did to you to win the race. Like, come on,
And it's
it's racing.
funny, he has done that to other cars as
Oh,
well.
he has. He's
So it's
definitely
funny.
done it.
It's like the old Denny Hamlin. I'm gonna race you hard and put you in a wall, but if you do it to me, I'm gonna
Throw a fit.
cry wolf and rant about you on Monday on my podcast, and then
You,
end up getting myself fined.
was the podcast the turning point for Denny Hamlin before he like for him to become full villain?
Yeah, I think it was when he admitted to taking out Ross Chastain. When he was like, "Well, if I'm getting taken out of this race, I'm taking him with me," and so he takes him. And then he admits it on his podcast, and NASCAR goes,
No.
"You admitted this, so we're going to fine you." And then I think after that, it's just been full villain ever
Well,
since.
and then he lost was disqualified from that Pocono. It was him, wasn't it? The Pocono race disqualification.
Yeah, is that the one that Chase Elliott ended up winning because the top
Yeah,
two got
Chase is like, I don't want
DQ'd?
that trophy. I don't because I'm not taking a win that way. Hamlin after the disqualification the next day he's like sitting at his table eating a bowl of cereal with the trophy sitting next to him. Just like ultimate trolling.
It's so
But
funny. I really liked Hamlin, and I want to like Hamlin, but just be willing to admit that people can race, or even just acknowledge that I can race a certain way, but I don't like it when others do it to me.
that's right. It was Hamlin and Busch got disqualified from Pocono for an extra layer of unapproved tape added to the nose in front of the wheel wells.
Yep. Just admit that,
Oh,
and I'll be a Hamlin fan again.
Justin Haley got disqualified this weekend. He was having a really good weekend, and his car was under
He
the weight
was,
limit.
yeah,
He was having a really good weekend. And it's like, hey, Rick Ware's starting to figure some things out, and then he gets disqualified.
yeah, like how they kind of pulled a reference that the crew chiefs learned how to knock weight off during the car during the race.
But the classic Chad Knaus getting caught on a hot mic, like, dude, if we win this race, you got to make sure that somebody hits you in the back.
Those were the good days of racing.
Like everyone gets, oh, you're such a cheater. He's such a cheater. They all like the whole culture of NASCAR is cheating to not get caught.
That's kind of the same thing. The Tour de France, Lance Armstrong won 7 in a row. Did you really have a competitive advantage when literally the entire field was on
Yeah.
performance enhancing
Yeah, like
products?
there was like a stretch of like 15 years where every Tour de France winner was disqualified because they had tested positive for PEDs after the fact. It
I
was the
mean,
German guy, I forget his name.
Eric Zabel.
And
Yeah,
then in baseball, it's like, everybody in the 90s was juicing.
and when you look at it like that, it's a level playing field. Now, maybe numbers and records and stats can you can put a mark on those, but at the end of the day, if everybody's doing the same stuff,
It's an era. Like Bob Costas, I liked his solution is like you can't keep Barry Bonds out of the Hall of Fame. You can't keep Roger Clemens out of the Hall of Fame. They were two of the best in that era. And it's like put them in there, but put a giant, disclaimer that said, "Hey, these guys were roiding up. They were the best of their era."
yeah, put it. It was the 1990s. It was the steroid era.
And and then Otani this week firing his interpreter for stealing his money to bet with an illegal bookie, and everyone's like, "Oh, was it really him? How did Otani not know that his interpreter was taking
I was
millions
about
of
to say, since
dollars?"
we're talking baseball, are we going to see a chance of Pete Rose come to the Hall of Fame finally?
Yeah. Pete Rose actually put a video on social media. He's like, I was only one interpreter away from the Hall of Fame. Like,
I mean, that's fishy enough. There's so many holes in this story that
yeah,
something's not on the.
there's missing details that are definitely under a rug that will come out at some point. Did I ever tell you about the
The
time
interpreter is actually the straw man. It's Otani's gambling habit,
did I ever
not
tell you
to
about the
use
time
supervision.
I ran into Pete Rose?
I think so.
Yeah, for those who have never heard this before, I was at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas in the sports book, and I'm up at the register placing a bet with my friend, and he goes, "Look to your left, look back to your left. Just don't stare, just glance back to your left." And I kind of, do one of those and look back up, and I go, "Holy crap, man. That's Pete Rose. Pete Rose is sitting in the sports book at Caesar's Palace."
I feel like Pete lives in Vegas. Even
I
the
think he
last time I was
does.
there,
Yeah.
he was in one of the memorabilia stores
Yeah,
signing
yeah. He
autographs.
does. There's a memorabilia store in the Caesar's Palace Mall. I haven't been there in years, but I 3 out of the 4 times I went to Vegas and went through that mall because there was a cigar shop that I used to in my younger days visit right there. And it would always there'd be a sign in the window, "Meet Pete Rose here today." And so he'd be signing autographs, and and then he was done, and then he's sitting over there. He's just chilling. He's wearing a suit. He's got a Cincinnati Reds ball cap on, and he's just sitting there chilling, watching the ponies, but glancing over at the baseball.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where all this ends up. If it ends up being just a huge theft thing, is it actually a illegal betting going on when it
Like,
shouldn't be? I'm
like there's
I'm
one
interested to
of
see
two
what plays
things
out.
happen: is either Otani is the dumbest person with his money ever, or they're covering up a bigger scandal.
People they were connected with were already getting investigated by the feds,
Yeah,
so
yeah. I think we're gonna see something if Major League Baseball doesn't properly investigate this, which they won't. I think we might see something from a Fed's case here that will, he might not be criminally indicted, but it'll be in somebody's notes, I'm sure.
now I would like to think that baseball will do something, but I would prefer to see Manfred fired as commissioner because I think he's been a detriment to the game and the development.
Yeah,
So I don't think he will risk taking off the now highest paid player in the history of baseball off the field.
yeah.
He's bringing in too much money to the league.
Too much money and more attention than they've had in a long time.
Yep. So I don't think Manfred will be willing to do that.
So there's your baseball talk. The baseball season starting this week.
Yeah,
Chase Field had its first rain out in the history of the ballpark the other night. Uh, Long story there, but basically the roof, they have the retractable roof, and they have a safety policy in place right now that they will not open or close the roof with fans in the ballpark.
makes
And
sense.
the reason for that, well, they used to, like, what they would do is they would start with they would close the roof, they'd have the air kick on, cool the place down, and then about the third or the fourth inning, they'd open the roof up as like the sun goes down, and you'd have it might be 105 degrees outside, but still nice. It's a nice outdoor ball game. When you hit monsoon season, they'd keep the roof closed all the time because you never know when the dust storm pops in, or just, that monsoon storm will pop in. So they would frequently keep the roof closed once you got through the middle of June. So this building was built in the mid 90s. It's not a bad building. People criticize it. It's not a bad stadium by any means. But the roof uses a set of pulley systems, pulleys and cables to pull the roof closed. And it basically comes, there's a video on Stadium Scene that I took of how of it it works, and it basically comes together, and it has like these plates that they're different layers, and they kind of accordion together, and then they come apart. The problem is there's like 3 miles of pulley cable running through the roof. Yeah, it's like 2.5 3 miles of cable. Like, it's some absurdly large number of cable, and they're afraid that one, either the cable will break, and it's a very, very large cable, or the pulley will break, or chunks of the roof will fall when the pulley or cable system breaks, and drop debris in the stadium and with people in there. Yeah.
Not a good thing to have happen.
Nope. So,
Probably something that you should have been renovating in the off season here.
well, there's a stadium dispute going on there. The
What else is new
county,
in Arizona
yeah,
athletics?
right. Right, they can't find a hockey stadium. They finally got the basketball stadium taken care of. But the Diamondbacks want some of that free tax money. And the county technically owns the stadium. The Diamondbacks have to pay for upgrades, but the county's responsible for like maintaining the building, and it's become this huge point of contention. And then their lease in the building ends in 2027. And they've threatened to leave Phoenix, whether it's leave downtown, whether it's move somewhere else in the valley. And they've even threatened, like, if we have to go to Nashville or Portland, it's like, you're not leaving Phoenix, get out of here. Like, it's like one of the it's one of the fastest growing markets in the country. Phoenix is the 5th largest city in the country. It's like the 10th largest metro. You're not going to Portland. But anyway, they're not fixing it. But then the other problem is, because of the complexity of this pulley system, it takes a couple months to fix it. And because the Diamondbacks went to the World Series last year, they were planning on fixing it last offseason, but they played an extra month of ball games there, and then they had some concerts, so they couldn't do the repairs. So, it's like, hey, they made that unlikely run to the World Series, didn't quite pull it off, but hey,
That'll be fun to see. Is this considered a maintenance issue or is it an upgrade?
well, there's that's been taken care of. Now it's just they're trying to pull for some money to renovate the place, and or get money to build a new stadium, and blah blah blah, tax dollars to build stadiums for billionaires. That's a controversial topic for another day.
Money, money, money.
Give me money. Anyway, yeah, we talked baseball, we talked gambling, uh we talked the races for this weekend. We got Richmond coming up, no Formula One. Indy's going to be off for a few weeks until Long Beach.
Yep.
And sign up for Wednesday Night Dash, or sign up for the Indy Racing World Series. We'll prorate you in.
We're back at it on Tuesday, 250 miles at the now falling apart, demolished Auto Club.
Yeah, there's some kind of like warehouse, like there was a press release of like what they're building on the land that they sold, and they're calling it like the Speedway Industrial Center or something. It's like, you know what? You want to just spit in our face even more? You just did that. Rip Auto
I
Club
guess
Speedway.
I did get to drive by Charlotte Motor Speedway. That is a massive complex. It's
There,
not
it's
just
really nice too.
the dirt track, the drag strip. It's a good spot.
I
I'm
hear it's
excited
very,
to
very
get to
nice,
a race at
actually.
some point.
I need to get to a Coke 600. Problem is, it's, I live on the other side of the country. The Indy 500 is the same day, but maybe
Maybe
pull off a double.
if our projects are taking off like we hope, then maybe we can finish up one and fly to the next.
Yeah, we get the helicopter to the airport and take the private jet down to Charlotte.
Yep.
Like
And
Kyle
then,
Larson's going to do here in a couple of months.
then I got to finally make a stop in Kannapolis, North Carolina, and I got to visit the Dale Earnhardt statue.
Oh yeah, yeah, you did. You sent me that. The
That was a very nice place right there.
Yeah, it looked really
I
nice.
was able to, I probably would have just sat there for a little while. Just some cherry blossoms and the trees blooming. The church bells were going off when I was there.
Oh, it's very
Very
nice.
nice little.
Oh, and then
Can't
we
say I
didn't
was
talk.
a fan of the time, but great person.
Did you see the story about North Wilkesboro? I
No.
I thought it was a joke at first, but North Wilkesboro had to repair part of the grandstands because a sinkhole formed under the
Oh,
grandstand. And when they went in to inspect the sinkhole, they found a moonshine tunnel.
nice.
And they said the rumored moonshine tunnel is too. We have found it. It's like, that's the most NASCAR thing ever. You've got a moonshine tunnel underneath one of your oldest operating speedways.
That is how NASCAR started.
It certainly was, but it's just like, it was a rumor, and then it was just a haha urban legend thing. No, it
It
is true.
actually is.
It is true. The Moonshine Tunnel of North Wilkesboro Speedway.
I wish I had a little bit more time. I would have taken a 50-minute drive north up to Martinsville because it wasn't too far away from there. And thought about trying to go to Concord Speedway.
I don't think Concord Speedway exists anymore.
Yeah, let's find where it was.
I think I want to say they sold it to like an auto auction company or something like that. And the reason it's in iRacing is because they scanned it before they demolished it.
Be fun
But
to go to the now defunct racetrack venues and see what's there, what's left of them.
yeah, it closed in 2019.
Like another one that would be fun to go back to where it was, Nazareth.
Yeah, it was sold to an online vehicle auction service called Copart.
Some of these classic tracks now are going away.
And you're hearing about these I think it was Hunter Hughes was telling me the other week about there was a little track that in his hometown that was really cool, and I guess the owner of the track got up involved in some shady business dealings, and it's not there anymore, and it's a bummer. These are historical tracks, and I grew up for 5 minutes from Kokomo Speedway, and I never went to a race there ever.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a way to get to a race.
Did you ever go to Kokomo Speedway?
I'm not. I
I,
actually
I
spent more time at the dirt track near Logan Sport than I did at Kokomo.
I don't where was that at?
It was right next to a campground, heading towards Logan Sport, but I forget the road.
I can't. It still can't be there today, is it?
I doubt it. Never officially confirmed it, but there was a like
US 24
little.
Speedway.
That's probably it. Is there a campground next to it, or like a little pond?
Yeah, there's a pond behind it. You know what? I know exactly where this is. I drove by that because there's a golf course I used to play at, and then there's France Park, which I went to many times.
At the bottom of that pond lake, the rumor was it was for like divers. There was a bus and like a plane at the bottom of it.
Oh, no kidding.
That's what I've heard. Never confirmed it though.
How about that?
Yeah, I went to quite a few races at that one.
Yeah, it's
It was
apparently
fun.
it's still there. And there was Gas City Speedway too. Never went to that one either. Drove by it a lot. Gas City, awesome name.
Yeah, if it lines up, I'll probably try this summer. I'm gonna be down in Indiana a little bit, so maybe I'll be there for a
You know what you
while.
need to do? You need to reach out to the track organizers and just tell them I want to do a bit, some social media stuff for the for the site and for the social media, and see if they'll let you give you some special credentials there.
I should.
Yeah, you're a hometown guy. Like you got to do it. They'll pull
I
it
once
off.
we've gotten far enough now with podcasts and everything that we've been doing that we can apply for some credentials at different things.
I mean, we're close enough. I wonder who owns it now. The
Is
O'Connor
there anything in
family.
May? Maybe around for it. I actually need to look at their schedule and just see what's all going on.
I wonder if it's the same. Interesting. When you hit stop, I might know these people, or at one point did, but we'll talk about it after I hit stop here. So frracingonline.com, at FRRacing Online on all social media streaming platforms. Tune in next Tuesday for the Indy Racing World Series at Auto Club. Long race.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Should be a
Thanks.
good battle.
Yep. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next
Lots of
week.
action. Take care.